Hello everyone, my name's Gabriel Howearth here, a botanist, landscape architect, seedsman. Been in the organic movement for more than 30 years. Started Seeds of Change Company, original founder of the Seeds of Change Organic Seed Company. Currently I am in Mexico, living in Mexico, where we started a botanical garden called Buena, Fortuna on the southern tip of Baja, where we have more than 3,700 plant species of dry tropical plants from all over the world, focusing on natives, rare and endangered, of course food, construction, medicinal plants, and fiber plants is being a highlight, and of course windbreaks and all that, because we do get hurricanes. But we've survived many a hurricane, and the gardens are thriving, doing very well right now. I've been involved in the plant world and horticulture probably since I was 5 years old. I had a real feeling for it. I didn't really do much. I was not raised as a farmer, but I grew some watermelons first off, because I loved them a lot, and I had a successful crop. So then when I started college, that's when I really started, because then I was on my own and I realized that the food quality wasn't that good. It was expensive, and I ran into a series of teachers that really inspired me, and then in my travels I met more teachers. So then I got really more serious about it. So to say, so in terms of that, about 32 years I've really been more involved in horticulture, seed saving big time, and propagating plants, and wherever I go, and learning the techniques to get extra, better production, better varieties, selection, etc., etc. I see plants as definitely have a super consciousness. They're real sensitive. To say negative things, they'll sometimes want to turn the other way. I did it with music. I saw with music that definitely certain kinds of music they really love, and they grow towards the speaker, and the other ones they want to grow the other way. So obviously they got sensitivity, and they have an etheric being. They are etheric more than astral. Well, we've got it all. We're etheric and we're astral, physical, spiritual, but the plants themselves got a very obviously physical and a very etheric being. And yes, they are sensitive. You can cut one of their friends, and they'll if you see it in Carillion photography, that's what you may want to get into, looking at auric fields of the plants themselves, their etheric bodies, and what they do, their exchange, and how they try to reach out to you. I've seen that on where I did a garden of planting the plants by what part of the body they cure. This iridology garden that I did, and I put all the herbs for the scurf rim, the herbs for the lymphatic ring, and then from there lung herbs, liver herbs, so I grouped it that way, and it was part of a health clinic, and I did it over, it was about an 1.5 acre piece of land. It was a big project, and I combined 2 eyes into one, but still you got the gist of it. So then people could walk in, and my theory and principle, and still to this day I believe it, is that you can get, by just going and being around, say you had an asthma, so you go around, you sit under this grouping of all the herbs that would cure you, and the auric field, you could see it in a Carillion photography. Those plants were just trying to reach out and bathe this person, and they didn't take any of the medicine. They just did that for 3 days, and we saw a lot of amazing results. So that's not ever written about. It's one of those things that I would do. Could spend 20 years before people really believe it, and I don't want to just. That's been my nature. I like to spawn ideas. Okay, someone wants to run with it, go for it. I'm not trying to corner the market on that, but I just think, because I like to keep exploring new things. I can't get locked into 20 years of this, 20 years of that. There's your life, really fast. As I learned from other Mayan shamans, they would charge their seeds on the 4 cornerstones of the older pyramids on a spring equinox, right at sunrise. There's been a tradition for a long time. Very few of them do that anymore. But I went and did that 1.5 years ago. I tried it another year, but I learned that I did it one day too late, and it doesn't have the effect. It's like it's got to be that day. And so that day I did it, and then I planted some seeds of those. I had control. In other words, I take half of the sack of beans and not enhance them, charge them, and then the others would be charged. The same with carrots. I did it with every kind of crop, and so I had a nice display to work with, and a nice whole. So then I planted I've planted all of them since. Some of them couldn't be planted at that time of year, but I planted almost all the ones that were enhanced, and then the non-enhanced, and I saw huge differences. I get 3 to 4 times the average, the yield of the other ones, and earlier, out of the ground way fast, and any kind of disease and pest that the other ones seemed to have at all, those did not get it. I think the people could make their own pyramids if they align them properly. I think the alignment to the north and all that's very, very key, and a geometrically power point in your garden. and make your version of a pyramid. Now remember, the Egyptian pyramids are different than the Mexican pyramids. So they have those flat tops. So it makes on an Egyptian pyramid you couldn't go climb to the top of what, you know. You can't even climb up there very easy. But they make them accessible. They make steps all the way to the top. So that makes it really interesting. So I just, whatever your belief system, I think that's a large part of it. But then the nice phenomenal bonus of doing that is I got to see these beautiful orbs of white circular light that would come at you and last for some seconds and then just disappear right in front of you. So it was like angels. It was ancient souls that were here on this earth plane and went off to a star and came back. That's a biodynamic belief. So we're still figuring out that. And, you know, I have a feeling there's a little, inside those little orbs, there's probably some little fairies, and I have to just tune in a little more, you know, like the cartoons would show things like that. But I know as a kid, and even when I was a young adult, I would see very common in my gardens fairies and gnomes and that sort of thing. I don't see them as much right now, but I guess I'm getting them in another dimension right now. So I think that's something to do with it all. And they're coming to carry the spirit of the seed and charge up the seed. They probably throw a little magic wand, whatever, this stuff this people would consider hocus pocus. You know, I definitely believe in some of those hocus pocus, I guess. Or is it bogus? No. But anyway, the banana fairies are really cool. They're pretty good size. They bounce around on those leaves, you know. The bigger long leaf things are you get the most diversity of that world, of the David kingdom. There's a famous one that doesn't grow where I am now, but elfwort or elecampane. That one, they call it elfwort for a reason. All the elves hang out there, and you put that in the corner of your farm somewhere because it gets to be big, very medicinal, and like giant comfrey, but tall. It doesn't run like comfrey and take over. But beautiful yellow flowers. But yeah, there's all kinds of elves and gnomes that hang around that plant. It's a nice herb.